Welcome to this third episode of Get Paid to Be the Change. Thank you for joining us yet again. As you settle in with your popcorn or beverages or whatever, it would be great if you could pop up to the banner that I put at the top of the Facebook group today in Preeminence Rising, if you're joining us from Preeminence Rising, and click on Allow StreamYard to show your name. That way we know who we're talking to, because we don't know unless you click on that. And it's not visible anywhere else, so you're safe. It's just us, but we love to know who we're talking to. So I hope you're enjoying this series. I'm going to do a quick resume of what's been going on as you settle in and people come in. So this whole event, Get Paid to Be the Change, it's got several meanings, really. So naturally, we've been talking about this a lot, and Karen talked about it yesterday as well. As you increase your frequency, your resonance with the money that you want, then naturally you will attract abundance. So that is one way of getting paid to be the change. You are literally paid to change. That's the nature of the universe, which is really exciting. Then, of course, there is this aspect of getting paid to be the change, which I talked about in episode 1, which is you as a change maker with your mission and your vision and your big magnum opus that you're bringing to the world. And the message from that was that you are your message and your energy and your frequency and everything about your business model, your branding, your communication, your vocabulary, everything, your image, your style, everything is about your message and how you communicate your message to your 5-star clients. Then, of course, we've got a third way of getting paid to be the change, which is getting paid to change the world. That's not being the change, that's changing the world. And this is what we are going to be talking about today. And I'm going to give Dawn the stage. So one thing that was really interesting yesterday, and my ladies might like to comment on that, was when Karen, in her epic 5-step process, kind of challenged you to reach for a vision, a monetary vision. Already there was a little bit of shuffling going on as you kind of thought about what it was you'd like to be seeing coming in by August. And then she pushed you, she nudged you a little bit more and said, "Now, come on, what would it be to be really, really juicy?" And that, again, there was a kind of like a bit of a silence well, you kind of was like, "Oh, okay, well," and you kind of felt around it, and then the answers started popping in. And then the biggest gap of all, of course, was when she said, "Right, now what would be like off the charts, like phenomenal be?" And that was like silence. So one of the reasons is that generally people in general actually, but women do not give themselves the permission to dream big enough. Like your answers yesterday, and we were having a little chat about it afterwards, your answers yesterday were so modest. There wasn't one kind of like million there or several million, or it was, your answers were really, really modest. So before we dive into Dawn's episode today, I want you to be, and this will prime you for what's coming today. I want you to give yourself permission to dream big. Just drop the frontal lobe working it out, hows and do I deserve it? Now am I going to do it? And all of that stuff. Just drop that and use this beautiful tool that you have, which is your imagination, because that's where you dream, in your imagination. And I want you to write this down. Imagination, if you take it apart, means I, Magi nation. You are sovereign of your own nation. You are sovereign of your own creation. And you do it through dreaming. You do it through your soul impulses, your vision, and your soul wants you to dream big. And that's why there's so much resistance, and we kind of put these barriers up. It's like, no, I couldn't possibly do that. But today we're going to kind of drop all of those shackles, and and encourage you to be in a space of dreaming big. Karen, do you want to say anything about that before we give the stage to Dawn?
Well, I do want to say that there's no judgment. So everything that has just been said was just true and just fact. I've done that masterclass a lot. Like, I've lost count of the amount of people that I've taken through those 5 steps. And when I do it in a group setting, it's always the same. Everybody is always around about the same level. So they're all in each step, they're usually coming back. They're usually about, I don't know, within about 5K of each other in each of the stretches. And that makes sense, because like attracts like, and we're a vibrational match for the people that and there's no judgment here. And we did actually have one person, maybe 2, that actually did give us 6 figures for phenomenal. And I was like, yes, get in. And this is why. It just proves that the fact that everybody was coming up with the same vision, the same amounts, roughly, because we're like attracts like, because we are a vibrational match for each other. But if that's true, and we're here right now with the potentiality of what we're going to be talking about today and what Dawn is going to share with us today, then that all means that we're also a vibrational match for that. So although we were like, people were thinking maybe being a little bit reserved, not giving themselves permission, being a bit small yesterday, today is a whole other day. And every minute of every day, you can choose to do it differently. That's the beauty of universal law, how we can choose every minute of every day to create something brand new. And today we get the possibility, the potential, the opportunity to step into something so much bigger. And as I said, there's no judgment around what was coming through yesterday. It's absolutely normal, and it's what I expect. But I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it out loud. To be a vibrational match for the stuff that Dawn is going to be talking about today, you must choose it. You must dream bigger, because the versions of yourselves at the moment aren't available for it. Allow yourselves to be available for it, because as soon as you do, it'll show up.
Right.
Thank you, ladies. And yeah, day 3. So I'm excited to share a pathway today, and building on what Jenny said and what Karen said. I'm just going to say, we have never really been invited to dream bigger. And I'm going to talk a lot about money today, and actually how women have been conditioned with money. And before I go there, I'm actually going to share something with you, because on the banner there was 4 of us, and of course you see there are 3 of us here. So I actually made a video with our lovely colleague but physically absent colleague Anna, because there are 4 of us on this journey, really creating a higher vibrational container, which is designed to link arms with and around women who want to go on this journey and to really ascend financially and, be a force for change and impact in the world. And so I'm going to show a video that I made with Anna think it was last Thursday or Friday. So she is going to talk for about 10 minutes, or a bit more actually, more like 15 minutes. So if you will definitely like tune in to what Anna is going to say, and then I will pick up the dots after the video is finished. But don't go away and make a cup of tea. This is a really key part of our day-to-day. So whilst I just share my screen. Oh, I'm going to share the file, not the screen. Let's just say a quick prayer to the tech gods, because this is going to probably take just a moment for the computers to do their things.
I'm going to say hi to the ladies, because I can see some of our ladies now that they've got their names in there, which is awesome. Okay, she's up. Oh, I've got to add her to stream, haven't I? Right, here we go. There we go. Ah, where's she gone? Oh. Okay. I'm gonna take.
We're talking about New Earth creating, talking about being the change and what this looks like in really practical terms. And I've brought in my friend and collaborator, Anna Feldman, who is an incredibly powerful women's empowerment coach in alignment and really being at peace around
journey.
So Jenny, and her, her language around being in alignment and really being at peace around money. And I'd love you to share a little bit about your own journey with money and kind of what you are now experiencing.
Can you hear the video, Jenny?
We'll open that up a little bit more.
Yeah, that's a great question. I was born like, many people who are on this evolutionary journey, without many resources. I was born in the former USSR in the Ukraine, and we left as refugees, actually. So everything that I learned about money was through watching my parents work so hard, work their guts out to create it. And so it was a very interesting relationship of feeling like we never had enough to do any more than just survive, right? And money was really for others and not for us. Okay. So I'm sure many people can relate to various beliefs of that nature that have stuck around, because that level of indoctrination around our worthiness around money, the stigma around money, and where money sits in the world can really have these profound kind of like a hangover on our lives. However, as someone that is on the spiritual path, you start doing personal development. You find yourself doing various courses and certifications and transformational practices. And with that comes an elevation, a lift of beliefs, a dismantling of who we thought we were as we reconnect to the truth of who we are. And I think that's the beautiful journey that many of us who are, I'm sure, watching and tuning in today are feeling that we've done so much work on our beliefs, on our worthiness, on coming to the truth of who we are. And the essence of who we are is abundance, that we are the frequency of money in a sense, and money is just an energy and it's just love. And so what I've come to, I guess, embody, not just acknowledge as a theory, but embody, is that we are worthy. In fact, our very existence alone, without having to accomplish anymore, without having to exert ourselves and perform and to prove our worth, we are inherently worthy of wild abundance. And with that came a huge identity shift, that it could be simple, that it could be delightful, that we could be doing this together in our, especially as women, with our natural superpower of leaning in and collaborating and igniting each other and inspiring. And if we can stay in that conversation, as you said, alignment, then it really can flow. And I really believe that we're living in the most extraordinary times where wealth is so readily available for us to receive if we're willing to stay open and inherently very, very grounded and tuned into who we are at our core, at our essence. It can be a joyful, incredible journey to create wealth and give back.
Absolutely. I know every woman watching has her own story around probably a struggle around money of some kind. And let's reflect for a moment on, the past 20, 30 years in the women's empowerment space, particularly, the things we've heard around being the change and the Western women will change the world. And I don't know about you, Anna, but I know I certainly, probably 20 years ago, kind of liked the idea of that, but didn't know what it was going to look like. And how have you had how has this experience been for you in sort of really recognizing that we called something in and the solution is here? And actually, it's kind of surprising that actually we find ourselves with it. Like we've got something right here that actually we all need.
Yes, absolutely. So there are so many of us emerging women that we sense we are here to live our purpose. And that's a beautiful thing, because what we're coming to realize is we no longer want to do things that are not aligned with our soul's purpose. And so what do? We go to create our businesses, our passion and our medicine, if you will, to bring it to the world, and we attempt to monetize it. And so the trajectory of our growth and our giving back has been in the form of entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship gives us enough context to become ourselves fully. So it's been this beautiful journey watching women, light workers, change makers step forward and create in business. However, it's also come with the shadow side of burnout and overwhelm and scarcity, in a sense that it's not always as simple as monetizing our passion and our purpose and being as abundant as we'd like to be, to have our oxygen mask on ourselves first and then be giving back in all of the ways that we do as women, as the caregivers, householders, business women now, and all of the things that we do to give back, including to try to give back to ourselves somewhere in that. So what I've come to realize as a coach who has also been on the journey of packaging my gifts to the world and selling, in a sense, and serving, is that there is another way, and that this other way has come as a calling. We've called this in for lifetimes, a way that I believe sits with the principles and our values around simplicity, prosperity, and unity. And I actually deeply believe that all of this and this new approach to wealth creation actually is our purpose. And the way that we can call other women into this new earth way of creating abundance is exactly what is in season at this time. So it's not to say it's the only thing that we will ever do and it's our only singular focus, but it certainly is when it comes to wealth creation and legacy wealth creation. What I mean by that is generational wealth. I'm not talking about enough to pay the bills and a little bit more to go on a holiday and have a massage here and there. I'm talking about generational wealth, creating a financial fortress so that we untangle ourselves from the welfare and the slavery system to be able to become the new humanitarians of our time. And what I mean by that is transcending traditional business and soulpreneurship to actually being abundant through simplicity, right? Without the burnout, to then have a cup that is overflowing to give back to the causes, to the movements, to the missions that really are calling us to serve into, with the resources that we need to be able to activate very, very quickly in a way that transforms the world, ecology, humanity, and all of what we come together to raise and lift the vibration of.
So perfectly explained. And, I think
There's a lot of words.
It's a lot of words. And as I'm listening to that, I know that there are people who understandably might struggle to comprehend the ease with which it's possible. And so what would you say to someone who is maybe having a little dissonance around allowing a flow to be so easy?
This is a really beautiful sort of line of questioning, Dawn, because we've taken people on a journey, and then you come to the question, well, how? What do we need to do? It's what do we need to do, but who do we need to be? And I feel like as we have this conversation, we need to be able to drop into the new posture, the new identity of being willing to step into the unknown, to be willing to step into a place that typically has caused us a lot of fear and anxiety, and a lot of our beliefs and betrayals and hurts and wounds around money and past experiences can rise, which is so important and so needed, because these are the signposts to protect us every step of the way. So I really want to acknowledge, as we step into a conversation where there is no other option than to partner, there is no other option than to lean in to something new and disruptive and revolutionary, is that what many of us are coming into awareness is that we've got to step into a posture of risk. And we've got to open ourselves up to possibility. What if there really was a more simple, nourishing, aligned, soul-aligned way to create this abundance, and it be my purpose? And I'm not in any way selling my soul. So what we have obviously found has come with a huge amount of duty of care, because part of the growth is discernment. But part of the growth is also staying open and curious. And so here we find ourselves going, well, I'm not really happy with the old way. That's not working for me, because I'm finding myself on that hamster wheel, even if it's my own making, it's my own creation. I'm not working maybe a 9 to 5, but I feel like I've created a burnout model for myself. I know that no longer works. So what have you got for me? So it's beautiful, because we're being squeezed through the geopolitics and life itself into a new paradigm, but we've got to come in with that posture to be able to receive what we have to share.
So let's talk a little bit about being a pioneer and actually shifting into trusting, going against the crowd, and following your guts and your heart, and that knowing that you're actually going in exactly the right direction. You found something that actually provides everything you ever wanted for, but it looks too good to be true.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know, the answer just came to me. It's really, even if you're going against the crowd, I can promise you there's a whole crowd going with you.
Yes.
And that is so, so important. You are not actually going alone. It can feel a little bit lonely at times, because you're pushing against an old paradigm. And we come to that with a lot of compassion and a lot of understanding. As women who are on this evolutionary journey, we recognize how much pain there is around change, and certainly around money and prosperity, and shifting up the ladder, in a sense, the caste system, as we break through social paradigms and become wealthier and wealthier. There's a lot that we're pushing against, but we're not alone. And I think that that's key, is resonance. We have the superpower of intuition and resonance, inner guidance, gut feeling. You know what it feels like for you in your body. So really my observation, and maybe my invitation, is to really start there, because everything else can feel so overwhelming and put us right back into our head. Whereas we're women, we're feeling beings, we're sensing, we're sensual. And so where your breadcrumbs are, in a sense, is with others. And we are designed to be with others. So that would be my starting point for stepping into something new is step into something new with people that you absolutely adore, that you trust, that nourish you, that inspire and ignite you. And when you're around them, you get chills, you get goosebumps, your heart feels like it's opening, you feel seen, you feel heard, you feel at home. And they're the things that we look for when we're taking a step into birthing and midwifing a new paradigm.
Yeah. Yep. It's all perfectly aligned for right now. And so I know we only have a few moments left for this particular segment. So what we're speaking just in overview about is an education and leveraging the systems. And let's just close off with a little kind of headline on that, if you would, and how that has, how you've experienced that.
What we're speaking about is birthing a new economy and a new social wealth system where there is no going back. We are witnessing the biggest transfer of wealth that the world has ever seen, and it is happening right under our noses. And even though we are the pioneers, we were born for this. We've been calling this in. And I really acknowledge that you're here listening to this today, because there are no accidents, that everybody who is tuning in and is feeling that it is your obligation to participate and to co-create, and not just kind of like ride the wave at the end, but actually you're writing the story with us, and how this gets to go, how it gets to evolve is up to us. And this new economy is by the people, and it's for the people, and it aligns with our values for collaboration, for education, for respect and leadership and decentralization, and all the things that we know are right for our times and what we're creating. That's exactly what we get to step into and become the ambassadors for. And it feels like a calling, and it feels like an obligation, and it feels like our purpose.
Yeah, it is so feminine and so powerful and so beautiful. And I'm excited to expand on this a little further and say thank you so much for sharing your introduction and your experience so far. And
you're welcome.
Thank you so much. We know that we are all here in this space today for a reason, and you've prefaced this wonderfully. And so let's go into some more details and say thank you so much, Anna, for being with us. And until we talk to you soon, thank you so much for sharing with us.
I'm so excited for everybody here, because I sense already the extraordinary possibility when we come together for this work. So I am so excited for what's to come next. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's been a pleasure, as it always is, to speak into something so holy, something so sacred to both of us and to so many out there. Thank you so much for having me, Dawn.
Thank you so much, and we will talk to you soon. Bye for now.
So I couldn't hear that, but as you hear from what Anna was sharing, we are in a truly extraordinary time as women leaders. We are literally on the leading edge of financial transformation. And I want us to just come back a little bit into some context about why are we finding ourselves in this need to shift. So we've heard this reference to the patriarchy. I'm going to talk about money in the context of that. So money, as we know from Karen and from Jenny, is a reflection of ourselves energetically. Money is vibration. Money is connected to how we show up in the world. Money is also mechanism, and it's a method of exchange. So we have been, I'm just going to say, we've been very, very deeply conditioned to exist in a place pretty much of lack, survival, getting by, just having enough. You know, the system has trained us to have certain expectations around money. And it is not around abundance. It is not around being in our birthright of having overflow and more than enough and being able to live into, you know, our fullest highest expression. It's about being, you know, working, exchanging time for money, you know, sacrificing yourself for a paycheck for the most part. And even for many people who have a business, you know, they largely create, you know, just a different way to get paid, but not really be financially free. And the system is designed that way. And women especially, I mean, even within the last 100 years, I'm sure it's in the last 100 years that women have only had bank accounts. For less than 100 years, we haven't had credit cards for much more than 50 years. You know, women had to ask for permission from men to have access to money. And so in that context, women are really not as used to handling money, being familiar with having abundance, making good decisions around money. We haven't been trained into it. You know, we literally are the first generation, for the most part, first, second generation of women who have had the responsibility around money and the capacity to generate our own money. I mean, we are literally on that leading edge. It's very, very, very few years in the grand scheme of things. And the patriarchy, the male-dominated system that has run this world for decades, has set us up that way. But now, you know, we know that there are, you know, we've probably been aware for a long time that there are different mechanisms around money generation and wealth creation. And so what I'm speaking into, and what Anna and I are speaking into, is how do we make that shift in our minds, in our bodies, but also in the mechanics. So the mechanics of money become easy and flow. And you probably will be familiar with the name Warren Buffett. You know, I think he's a big Wall Street financier, isn't he? Mega money guru and financial expert. And he is quoted as saying, if you don't have a way to make money when you sleep, you will work for the rest of your life. Because if you're exchanging your time for money, even if you're doing quite well, you know, for the most part, the majority of people will not be financially free. They may get enough to feel comfortable, but they won't be creating legacy wealth. They won't be setting their family up to have wealth. You know, the wealthy versus the ordinary people, the wealthy think differently. They have different training, if you like, from their family. They're programmed differently from birth. And so we're literally creating this bridge for the, I say, the everyday person to have access to the kind of wealth that has normally been the preserve of, you know, the rich kind of families and the people who've had money. You know, you had to have money to make money. If you didn't have a lot of money, you were just not able to access the sort of privileges, if you like, that were available through the mechanics of the money systems. So what we're discovering and what actually is being created, I believe, as a true reflection of the time that we're living in right now, of this shift into the feminine, into a new era on the planet, is that the money system is changing. And as the money system is changing, people on the earth are creating new systems, new mechanisms, and having different attitudes around sharing wealth and abundance and money, and actually allowing it to be placed in the custodianship or the custody of people who are, you know, heart-centered people, who are visionaries, who want to do good things in the world. And this is us. This is us. We are the ones who have raised our hands and said, I'm willing to go on the journey of personal development. I'm willing to go on the journey of spiritual expansion and spiritual growth. And that's amazing. You go, you know, part of that journey is the inner expansion and the willingness to think about yourself differently, to change your self-image and to do that work. And then there is also the real world lived experience of expansion. And expansion with money means having more. It means being willing to be open to receive a far greater level of abundance than perhaps you've been used to living with and even thinking about. And as visionaries, as change makers, as heart-centered entrepreneurs, we know that there is a purpose behind us being here. And yes, we want to take care of our own lives and our families, but deep inside every single one of us, I'm absolutely sure there is a mission in the heart of each person watching this, each woman who feels into the depths of that, who knows that if she has overflow and she has abundance, she would do incredible things on the ground in the world with amazing overflow of money. And so how do we leverage it? We need to be looking at ways to engage with the systems. And I'm going to share a little bit of my story right now to help bridge this gap so you understand where I'm coming from. Because just like you, doing the exercises yesterday, I was not raised in a very, affluent family. It was a very comfortable family, but there was not abundance. Money was not an enjoyable thing. It was a practical thing. And so I believe that the training I had through my upbringing and through kind of struggling with money for a long time allowed me to have that experience, to be able to relate to other women who have had the same journey. And I'm slightly ahead of the curve because now my shift through what I'm going to talk about is allowing me to see incredible, easy, passive income by not trading my time for money, not doing anything, but by being open and allowing it to come into my life. So, over the past few years, I've really been understanding that the money system is designed to keep us small. It's actually designed, I think, to keep us so engaged in the doingness of life that we actually don't have time to know really who we are, to know ourselves. Because if we have the space to sit and to connect with our inner being and to really sit with our questions about, our purpose and what we could create if we had all the abundance, we need time for that. We need to rest for that. We need to be nourished for that. And busyness keeps us separate from it. The moment you begin to sit with time and space and expansion and ease and grace and flow, the ideas come in, the messages come, the downloads come, the whole vision expands. And so the magic of what we've been experiencing is by saying yes to something that actually felt very, very, very uncomfortable and very unfamiliar a few years ago, has actually quantum leaped what now we're thinking is possible in the world. And why we're creating this container and this team is because we know that you are like us and that we want to share this with other women who are like us, who want to be putting money into places where it's needed. It brings great benefit. I mean, there is enough money in the world that there should not be anybody starving or anybody who doesn't have clean water or doesn't have access to all of the fundamentals of human existence. And I believe it's the money in the right hands, the hands of the right people that will put that right. And so what we're going to be talking about, we're going to be inviting you into a very specific container, which is a Facebook group for those who feel called to come with us. And we're going to be teaching and training you about a particular mechanism using the money mechanisms that are already in existence. Is nothing new. This is actually a very, very low risk journey, in fact. And we're talking about the mechanism of the Forex, the foreign exchange market, which actually has been around for decades and decades. It's how the wealthy make their money in the trillions every day. and it's normally kept in the hands of the wealthy. Now, we have found, I can only think of the words to call them divine masculine men who understand the rise of the feminine and who have created this container to allow us to do our work, to be the benefactors, if you like, the teachers that bring this forward. And we have seen the simplest way, the most consistent way to see money in abundance beyond your wildest imaginations. And what Jenny was referring to and what Karen was referring to at the beginning of the session today was when you see what is possible and you raise your hand and say, yes, I'm willing to make myself available for that. We are literally talking about, 6 figures, multiple 6 figures, even 7 figures passively. And I'm just going to let you sit with that for a moment. Can you imagine what it feels like to receive abundance at that level without doing anything? Could you allow it in? What would it feel like if you looked in your account every weekend and that money was just coming in? Of course, it's not, it is not an overnight quick fix, but over time, this is what's happening. This is what's going to happen for every person. And it's been designed that way. And it's very real. It's been road tested for years. We have done all the due diligence you could ever imagine. And I can absolutely hand on heart promise you that none of us would be speaking about this without having evidence and proof. We wouldn't risk our businesses and reputations without knowing that this was a real thing. So I invite you to lean into that and trust us as your guides and as the source of this, and be excited because we're going to invite you to stretch your playing with what would be phenomenal and go even bigger, and to think beyond what would make your life comfortable and what would make your family's life comfortable, but what would be phenomenal for you to be able to give? What would be phenomenal if you could sit in creation with a charity or a passion project or something of that nature, even creating your own, knowing that no one gets left behind, everybody is receiving abundance, and we are a channel for phenomenal transformation to happen through money being a good thing in the hands of the right people. This is what we have. It has almost felt too good to be true for me. I can promise you I've been through every emotion. I've asked every question, and I've been proven. I've shown it, and so has Anna. Anna and I both very much aligned with the journey and been on this journey together. And it is now our greatest mission to share this with as many women as we possibly can, because we trust it, because we know it to be true, because we know that these men are actually calling for us to go and sit at the table with them. It's created by men, but they want us with them. They are speaking recently about creating huge sums of money for women's empowerment, sums that have been spoken about in the magnitude of hundreds of millions globally. It's a huge project. And part of this is actually an education around money. It's not just the mechanism. It's actually a container that teaches you about how to reach into the higher levels of money, how to manage it well, how to be a good custodian of it, and how to live with more money in your life. It is time to say goodbye to lack and scarcity and thinking, oh, can I do it? Can I have it? It's actually it's a real body experience of expanding and your nervous system realigning with bigger sums, and it's quite phenomenal and exciting. And the ability to dream so much bigger is what's needed right now. We all need someone who to put a hand out and bring somebody with us to say, look, this is happening. It's real. Come on the journey. It's a real thing. And so I think I've covered most of mine. I'm just going to check I haven't missed anything out. I really wanted to re-emphasize ease and grace and recalibration of the nervous system, and being available to do a complete 180 and allow it. So what we're going to do, we're just going to be a few minutes more, but we're going to invite you, if you're watching live or you're watching the replay, we're going to share the Facebook group link. If you feel called, if you are inspired by what we've been speaking about over the last 3 days together as a collective, we are all inviting you to just come and take the next steps. You will definitely feel all the emotions. You'll probably have maybe a bit of fear or uncertainty, but remember, we've spoken about being courageous. We've spoken about being willing. We've spoken about being open. And so this now is an opening. This is an opportunity for you to consider allowing yourself to be abundantly wealthy and actually be a practical change maker, to actually bring your, maybe your dreams and your visions to life. I think it was in last month's magazine or the one before, I shared a little story about when I was a young girl, when I was at primary school, in fact. I can remember writing a little story about wanting to go to Africa and to work with animals and conservation. And right back at the age of probably 9 or 10, that was in my heart to actually do that. And of course, I grew up and went through my teenage years and life happened, and somehow that desire got buried. And yet recently I've recognized I actually can do something here. I actually now am watching my Instagram feed with, charities raising money for endangered species. And I'm thinking, I'm putting money into that project. I'm talking to those people. I'm connecting with projects, and we're inviting them to partner with us, because money must come out of the money system and go into places where it is needed. And it's by being willing to be the leading edge of this financial transformation that we can really do that. So even if it doesn't feel comfortable, we've got your back, we have you, and we will support you, but we invite you in. So I think with that, I'm just going to say, here's your moment to join us and come in. And this is going to be an open container. It's not going to close. It's going to be part of the conversation that is ongoing. This is an ongoing conversation. We have all collectively committed to being willing to be the change, to be on the leading edge, and to grow this into something alongside the other things that we're doing here, but to actually, bring together people who are feeling called like we are too. So, Jenny, over to you.
Yeah, I was just trying to hook out the link. Because I didn't have it ready.
I think if you maybe try closing down the video, something's going on with the sound.
There we go. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a question that in the chat from Helen that I just think is important that that I address, because it came in quite early in the conversation.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to say something about it, just so that she can get out of her own way. And anyone else that was thinking it. Helen asks, if we were dreaming about millions, wouldn't that be overstretch? And I talk about overstretch a lot in my work, because overstretch is misaligned. So it's important that I address this. Helen Lovely, everything starts with a dream. Everything starts with a dream. If you remember yesterday when I took you through the process again, and we did the good amount, the better amount, and the phenomenal amount, I said the reason that I was asking you to dream about, to engage with the phenomenal amount, was because if you didn't, it would never ever happen. You have to imagine, you have to dream. Dreaming is the beginning of everything. It's not Overstretch. For you to be a vibrational match for millions in 3 months isn't going to happen.
You have to imagine, you have to dream. Dreaming is the beginning of everything. It's not Overstretch.
Who's not
For you to be a vibrational match for millions in 3 months isn't going to happen.
Right.
Dreaming is the beginning of...
I'm going to be quiet. Okay, so that's finished. I can't hear my feedback now. Yeah, so I just wanted to say that the actual dreaming, the imagining.
You say they've got no sound.
Phenomenal amount.
We've got some really strange things going on today. Mercury retrograde is showing itself. Yeah, Mercury retrograde. Look, Francesca says.
Can somebody else just confirm in the chat that you can hear us?
Can you hear us?
Everybody. Hello.
I have no sound. I don't know if you can hear me, but I have no sound.
Yes,
you can hear me.
You, Dawn. We can hear you, Dawn.
Yeah.
You can hear me. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's okay.
Okay, Mercury retrograde for sure. So I couldn't hear what Karen was saying or what Jenny was saying. So I wish I could lip read right now. This is fun. So I think I'm just gonna hand over to you. I can't hear what's being said. So I think, what I wanted to say was come on over into the Facebook group, because you probably heard Jenny say on Monday and yesterday that there was a gift from me into this space, and I am going to help someone get started with this journey. And there is a small investment to come in it. We're going to talk about that inside the Facebook group, but I'm literally going to sponsor somebody financially to get started and help you get set up and everything. So that will be the beginning of a 7-figure journey. So I hope that someone will come in, and we're going to tell you inside the Facebook group how you can qualify for it.
Okay, so I'm going to share the link for the group, so you can just come on over. Just know that the paint is still drying on the walls, just in the reception room, because it's been quite a week with the magazine coming out, and it's been full on. You and I and Anna are going to hop on a live in there over the weekend. Yes, correct? Can you hear me, Dawn? No, she can't hear me.
Can't hear you.
Can't hear
You can't hear me. Okay, so Dawn and myself and Anna are going to hop on into the Facebook group over the weekend. There are some resources for you to start to look at. I just want to share also that I've been involved with what Dawn's been talking about for a few months, and I'm also completely blown away. And I have now done what she talked about, which is settled my nervous system down, because this whole, maybe Karen would like to just comment on this whole idea of, from abundance comes abundance, and still there is abundance, is true. There is no shortage of money. There has been, up until very recently, a domination about how those mechanisms work to channel that money, and that is over. So that is why we are so freaking excited about this, and and all sorts of things will come up for you, all sorts of things. You know, we've been through it, we still go through it. You know, there's incredulity, can't say it now, incredulity, as it incredulity, there's but more than ever, there is just a kind of deep sense of knowing that it is time. And as Dawn said so beautifully, that the reason that you're here and that you've been listening this is that you also have been calling this in, and that you know that it is time too. So I'm going to share the Facebook group. It is called the Ripple Wealth Reception Room, and I'm very unlikely to be in there tonight to answer questions. Dawn is going to be super present in there. Karen's going to be in there as well, because she can answer any of these like questions that like Helen asked, and they are very, very valid. They are valid. All of these things come up for us. This is normal. These are normal responses to this huge shift. So, right, she says, tapping the right. So it's in the chat, and you'll find it there, Ripple Wealth Reception Room. So I might not even be able to let you in tonight. I will try. And as I said, we are putting resources in daily, and mostly we are going to be present over the weekend with a nice welcome video to give you a virtual glass of champagne, and over the weeks to come, to be there to start to take you on this journey with us, if that speaks to you. So Karen, did you want to add anything on that last?
I think all I want to say really is anything that you desire, anything that you have ever wanted, anything that you desire, whether it's wealth or abundance in the form of money or relationships or anything that you can imagine, anything you desire is available to you. Otherwise, you wouldn't desire it. The reason you have the desire is your soul's, it's literally your soul's signal to you that it is available for you. All you need to do is choose it. All you need to do is step into it. And if the kind of wealth that we've been talking about here, the kind of projects, the kind of ways that you want to give back, even if you're uncomfortable at this point with receiving money, because lots of people are, so many people have still got all this weird junky energy around money and how it's the root of all evil and all of that kind of stuff. But there's a part of us that wants to give, which is one of the reasons why so many healers and coaches end up in burnout, as Anna mentioned. That's why we end up in burnout, because we give from a place of not having. But anything you desire is available to you, including being able to give back at those really high levels, as long as you're open to receive it. That's the law of circulation. You wouldn't want it if it weren't available for you. That would be like the cruelest joke in the world. Like the universe and your soul would never play a game like that. It makes no sense. Anything that you desire is available to you. And it starts here.
Yeah. I Magi Nation. We are sovereign of our own creation. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, I think that kind of rounds off nicely these 3 days, and now you will see how we've built up this whole, and how everything links to everything else. So come with us. We come and explore, ask the questions. That is the bit that is the most important thing, is just to lean into it and ask the questions. Do your due diligence to yourself, but it is available to you. That is what we are here to share. It is available to you. So you're very welcome. Thank you. Thank you. I can't see who it said for who it was a blessing. Thank you.
It's been an absolute, it's really
Thank you. I can't hear what's been said, but I can roughly get an idea. You're saying thank you. And yeah, thank you for listening today. And I just hope that we've inspired you to really be open to something completely different to, you know, what you've seen before and experienced before. It is available. And I don't know if Annie, if you mentioned this, Jenny, but Anna, who spoke on the video, we're literally liaising to do a live with her. We'll okay, you covered that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll announce that as soon as we've got the time confirmed. She's in Australia, so yeah, you probably said everything. So thank you for being with us. It's quite a ride, so come on it with us. We hope you will.
Right, I'm going to put the link in again. And enjoy your, yes.
Is the link showing up? It's just that when it comes through the feed on here, it's got the YouTube logo on it. I don't know if it is it actually coming through Facebook. Right. That might be why they can't see it.
Yeah, okay. Well then I'll come and drop it in the Facebook group straight away.
Okay.
I'll just come over to the Facebook group and say give you all a hug.
Yeah, I will probably see you in the Facebook group tomorrow because I am exiting left. The sun's out. It's Friday night. I'm off. I'll see you all tomorrow. But it's been an absolute, it's been my pleasure.
Thanks, everyone.
It's been my pleasure. Bye, everyone.
And this is just the beginning.
Oh, absolutely. Love, love, love.
Bye.